Starts in a courtroom where a sales manager named Bill is suing his ex-mother-in-law, Val. The issue? A $1,500 loan he says she never paid back. But Val, a retired postal worker, tells a completely different story. She claims the money was a gift, given to help her pay for her own mother's funeral. The judge starts digging into the backstory. Bill was married to Val's daughter for about 2 years. They didn't have any kids. He knew the family for about 4 years total before the divorce. So when Bill and his wife split up in March of 2000, you might think that would be the end of his relationship with his mother-in-law. But surprisingly, it wasn't. Bill explains that he and Val actually stayed in touch. He says they talk on the phone once or twice a month, just catching up, seeing how things were going. He even says that Val wasn't happy with how her own daughter treated him during the breakup. So he thought they had a pretty decent civil friendship. They'd chat, send emails, and just generally kept things friendly. Now let's fast forward to April 2001, a full year after the divorce. This is when the $1,500 comes into play. Bill claims he loaned Val the money. He even has the canceled check to prove it. He hands it over to the judge as evidence. But before the judge can even examine it, Bill adds another layer to the story. He reveals that just 2 weeks before he gave Val the money, his ex-wife called him out of the blue. And what did she want? She asked if he wanted to buy back the wedding ring. You see, when they split up, Bill had asked for the ring back, which he admits probably wasn't the right move. At the time of this phone call, his ex-wife wasn't living with her mother, Val. This little detail seems random at first, but it adds to the complicated family dynamics happening in the background. So, what was this $1,500 actually for, according to Bill? He says Val had a yearly tradition of visiting her sister down in Florida. She called him up and asked, very politely he notes, if he could possibly lend her some money. She explained she needed it for a down payment on her plane ticket and hotel room. Bill, trying to be a good guy and having a little extra cash at the time, said sure, no problem. He thought he was just helping out a friend, his former mother-in-law, for her annual trip. But here's where the two stories completely diverge. Bill's version is a straightforward loan for a vacation. Val's version, as we heard at the beginning, is that this money was a heartfelt gift to help with her mother's funeral expenses. A loan for a fun trip versus a gift for a family tragedy. These are two completely different scenarios. One expects repayment, the other is an act of kindness with no strings attached. The judge now has the check in hand, which confirms the money changed hands. But a check doesn't have a memo line that says loan or gift in a legally binding way. It just proves payment. The core of the case isn't about whether the money was given, but why it was given. Was Bill just being a nice guy helping out with a vacation, expecting to be paid back once Val was on her feet? Or was he offering a compassionate gift during a time of grief? This is where it gets really interesting. The friendly phone calls, the ex-wife trying to sell back the ring. The conflicting stories about a vacation versus a funeral. It all paints a picture of a very messy, complicated post-divorce relationship. Who is telling the truth? Is it the ex-son-in-law who thought he still had a friend in the family? Or the mother-in-law who might have seen the money as a final gesture of family support? The judge has to unravel this tangled web of he said, she said, to get to the bottom of it. She agreed to pay me back in August. I said, okay, I can do that for you, Val, because I thought we still had a decent relationship. And she never paid you back. No, she didn't. Okay, now, Miss O'Reilly, when did your mother pass away? My mother died in April of 2001. When in April? The 29th of April. All right, I'd like to hear your defense because this is interesting. My mother was 93 years old and in a nursing home. She was dying. In the first part of April, they didn't think she would live much longer. She passed on April 29th, according to you, right? That's when she died. But she was in the process of dying. Hospice was called in, and since she and Bill Brewer were friends and on good terms, she liked Bill. We all did at one time. She asked hospice to call him and tell him goodbye for her, that she was dying. They didn't expect her to last. Did that happen? No, it didn't. They never... Just a second. Let's get to the $1,500, please. Okay, they called him and told him she was dying. He called back and said he was sorry she was passing. Could you get to the money? I told him she had bought her plot years ago and her cremation was paid for. He asked how she would be buried, and I said she was going to be cremated. I couldn't believe it, but even though she owned the plot, it would cost $500 just to open the grave to put her ashes in. That amazed me. Then it would cost another $200 for an urn, and it had to be bronze. I couldn't just put her ashes in the box from the crematorium. And the marker was $800. I said that Graham, that's what we called her, would just have to wait a while before I could do all this. He said, "Don't worry about it. I'm making good money now. Let this be my gift to you." It was a gift. And you say this conversation took place while your mother was still alive. She was dying, yes. But while she was still living, you had this conversation with him. Yes, Your Honor. He offered the money as a gift. He said, "This is my gift to you." He said, "You've been through enough. Let me do this for you." And I said, "Well, Graham would appreciate that." And he said, "I know she would. The money was never a loan. It was a gift." He even knew about the funeral arrangements before my mother passed. When she did die on April 29th, I called him and told him. He sent flowers to the funeral home. He knew everything that was going on. He paid for the urn, the grave opening, and the marker directly. He wrote the check to the funeral home, not to me. Now, Mr. Brewer, you heard her testimony. She says this was a gift, not a loan. You never gave her the money directly. You paid the funeral home. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. And why did you do that? Well, at the time, I wanted to make sure the money went where it was supposed to go. She was distraught, and I wanted to help, but it was always understood to be a loan. I told her I could help her out, but that I'd need the money back by August. Let me ask you, Miss O'Reilly. If it was a gift, why did he specify a repayment date? He never mentioned a date. He just said, "Let this be my gift." Why would he call it a gift and then ask for it back? It doesn't make any sense. He was being supportive because he was friends with my mother. Mr. Brewer, do you have any text messages, emails, or written agreements that prove this was a loan? No, Your Honor. It was a verbal agreement. We were friends. I trusted her. I thought her word was good enough. And you, Miss O'Reilly, do you have any proof it was a gift, other than your word? Just the fact that he said it. He said, "Let this be my gift." That's what happened. It's a classic he said scenario. He claims it was a loan with a clear repayment deadline. She insists it was a heartfelt gift offered during a difficult time with no strings attached. He paid the funeral home directly, which could be seen as either ensuring a loan was used properly or as a direct gesture of giving. She points to his exact words, "Let this be my gift to you," as the core of her defense. Without any written proof, it boils down to whose story is more believable. One person is out $1,500, and the other is defending their integrity during a time of grief. Who do you think is telling the truth here? Let me know your verdict in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more real cases.